Welcome to the Business B.E.A.R podcast, Garrett County Business Development's local business marketing podcast, hosted by me, local radio personality and the voice of Garrett County, Connor Norman. Why Business B.E.A.R? Well, not only are black bears famous in our community, but the acronym actually stands for something. It stands for Business Expansion Assistance and Retention Podcast. So on this show, we sit down and spend 15 to 30 minutes talking with our local business owners, state partners, and economic development professionals in Garrett County. It's our hope that you learn a lot, and we'll try to have some fun while we're at it. So stay tuned and buckle up. Let's get this show on the road.
Here's what I'll tell you about the mortgage business, and most people may or may not know this. It might be an enlightening topic. Banks and the mortgage companies are typically just a commodity, right? They're a commoditized product. Everybody should have about the same interest rates and terms, because that's usually, as a customer, what we're conditioned to ask. Our generational conditioning has been, ask them what the rate is.
Yeah.
Ask them what the down payment requirement is, right? We have very little value proposition conversations, and I always have value proposition conversations to say, you know what? Everybody's pretty much equal, right? The differences are going to come from the level of expertise, the experience, the caring, the generosity. You know, those sorts of things that make the difference between things. And MLend has developed some unique programs in addition to the standard programs. The unique programs, which I find amazing, we have a first responders program. So anybody that's a first responder in Garrett County gets a discount on some of those vendor fees that we talked about.
Wow.
So that's really important to us. We're helping local nurses and firefighters and police and sheriff deputies and state troopers and local police officers buy homes at a discount, because we feel like they give a lot of sacrifice to our community. This is our way of giving back to them without it being, we don't put it on a billboard. We probably should, but we don't put it on a billboard to look for the pat on the back. We just want you to know that it's out there. One of the programs that I'm especially excited about is a professional program. It kind of goes in tandem with that first responders, but the professional program will allow you up to 100% financing, and it's for younger doctors, CPAs, people entering the industry that have been burdened with a lot of student loan debt.
Wow, incredible.
So we're actually looking at ignoring some of those student loan debts because we feel like that fair or unfair, however you got it, it could be a burden and a roadblock in the home buying process.
That's incredible. There are a lot of people that come out of that college thinking, they may go into a good paying job.
Yeah.
But when you factor in, how much they have to pay every month loan debt, that's sometimes close to what would be a mortgage payment. Yeah. Exactly.
Absolutely.
So when you look comparatively what they make, then that kind of decreases the amount of what they have. Right. And some of these people, especially when you're talking doctors and in higher professional, where they come in with these hundreds of thousands of debt, that can be pretty substantial. So it's cool you have a program available like that.
We've designed a couple of programs to fit the needs of our community. That is what I feel is the biggest benefit of a community bank is you take a look at the regional structure and say, okay, what does Appalachia need, right?
Yeah.
What do we need and how do we deliver it in a way that's affordable and helps people succeed? And that's really the thing. I tell you, one of the other things, and it's not proprietary to MLend, but I have such a passion about it. It's a VA loan. And the message that I'd share with you and your audience today and the real estate community, because I get some feedback from time to time, VA loans have such a stigma about them from both the borrowers and also some folks in the community that think that it's an arduous loan. It's a really difficult loan to get, when in fact it's one of the easier loans that we do, especially for rural properties, which is really amazing. You can have a small farmette type of property and do it in a VA loan and really help people with 100% financing.
Wow.
Man, it is by far, and a lot of people don't exercise they don't flex that VA muscle because they're afraid of it. It's a fear of the unknown. They don't know what they don't know. And unfortunately, a lot of veterans get caught in this fintech company again, big things that like to affiliate themselves with veterans by giving yourself a hometown name or a Veterans United name when they're really not a veteran-owned company. They're just a big company that are playing on words.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so I love VA loans, man. Helping veterans is a passion of ours.
It's an important distinction. I think that's great that you kind of highlight that too. So again, that anyone that's a veteran out there in the community can come to you guys and really find a valuable product that they have every right to, and that they should be taking advantage of.
I love that. That's the right meaning. And in fact, it's called entitlement, your VA entitlement. And that's exactly what it should be. It is your entitlement for the service and sacrifice that you gave to our country. It's our way of giving back and making sure that we exercise every opportunity to help you succeed.
Speaking of giving back, I think this kind of makes a nice transition. At each episode, I try to talk with every business that comes in about how important it is to support a local business and what they're doing, particularly a community bank, because of the value that you inject back into the community that often goes unseen.
Yeah.
So could you tell us a little bit about you personally, where Emlend has been valuable in giving back to our community, where you've been giving back to our community? Tell us a little bit about that, because I think our listeners really need to know, hey, this is what people in our backyard are doing for us. When you talk about the big companies and you give them, you save a little bit maybe here or there, right, or you get shanghaied into whatever their fancy shiny programs might be. But at the end of the day, when your local soccer team needs an endorsement, when somebody has a terrible tragedy and they need support, our local businesses and our locals are gathering around them. In Garrett County, it almost happens in an unprecedented way. You really feel that village, that community essence here. And it's from the people that were born and raised here. It's from the people that came to Garrett County and made it their home. I'm like you. I'm a transplant to this area. And half the time, I've been so embraced by the community, as have you. People probably come up to you and all the time and say, "You're not from here? What's going on?" Right. And you'll find that with a lot. Sometimes it's almost like 50-50. People that are born here versus people that come here to make it their home. And, it's a really unique thing. So I like to talk about that with the businesses that come on. And you guys are out there doing a lot. One thing I'll kind of tee up for you here. I think every year during the Autumn Glory Dinner, there's at least the last couple years that I've had the pleasure of auctioning off. You guys made a great contribution in that auction towards sending some kids to college. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about stuff like that.
Yeah, as you know, Autumn Glory is special to us and our community and how we interact and able to serve. Sending kids to college is or to school in general, whatever they choose, is really important to us. And as a person in this community, I feel like it's my duty, it's my responsibility to support local people, because we, again, with much privilege comes great responsibility. So we have a responsibility to help those in need. We're doing everything from helping with Little League to the Autumn Glory kickoff thing with the scholarship program. That's really important to us. A kind of something that a newer venture that's kind of near and dear to my heart is the Reflection House. That's something that my wife is acutely involved with, and that's going to be a passion project of ours coming up to help women in Garrett County, which is, speaking of which, the Dove Center, we try to support the Dove Center as often as possible with many different things and varieties of things. But one thing for me, that kind of jumps out, and you'll probably want to talk about this later on, but I'll just go ahead and just jump into it now since we're talking about the community. I had a day, I was off on a Veterans Day, probably, I don't know, 6-7 years ago. And I was at home, and it was a beautiful Veterans Day, by the way. So I was walking through Broadford Park, which I love to do. If you haven't been to Broadford, it's a great resource. Walking through Broadford Park with the dog. And I said to my wife when I got home, I said, it seems kind of odd that Veterans Day is a federal holiday and I'm off and I'm not a veteran. What can I do that would have an impact on veterans to show them that I really I appreciate what they've done at the service to our country. So I got to thinking about it a little bit, and I called Jeff Tressler up at Backbone, and I said, what I want to do. Actually, I called Jessica Lucas. She answered the phone.
I was gonna say that sounds about right.
Yeah, I called Jessica and I said, what I want to do is I want to buy every veteran their dinner tonight. So if it was Veterans Day, I figured they'd be out, maybe whoever was at the restaurant. And I said, I want to do that personally. I didn't even solicit the bank for help at that point, because I felt like it was just a gesture at that moment. That gesture blossomed into, and they were incredibly grateful. I got so much really, just overwhelming feedback, positivity from that. But that gesture turned into holding a Veterans Day lunch after the parade in Garrett County in Oakland every year on Veterans Day at the American Legion. So that idea blossomed into, being able to help a few folks with the bank's support, being able to serve over 200 to 220 some veterans lunch.
Incredible.
On a Veterans Day. And man, I tell you, that's not even the best part of it. The best part of it was, I was doing it because I was grateful to them, but it morphed into, a couple of the local elementary schools. Crellin in particular was the first one that reached out and said, hey, you know what, we do things on Veterans Day as well. Can we marry up? And we'd love our kids to be able to come in and shake some hands and to say thank you personally. But more importantly than that, we're going to create some cards. We're going to create, some posters, and we're going to make these folks feel like they're really welcomed. And that was my goal. That was the in a nutshell, the objective was to help people. So yeah, we do a lot in the community and a lot of it is under the radar because we don't feel like it's necessary to draw a lot of attention to it. We don't hold big checks and take pictures with lots of people, but we support organizations that are really important to this community, with Landon's Library and the Dove Center and the scholarship program with college.
Awesome.
Local veterans and Reflection House and things like that.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you indulging me. Again, I like to pull that. Sometimes it's like pulling teeth to get someone to talk about that work. But again, I think it's wonderful information. And it's nice for the general public to know, hey, this is how these companies are really feeding back into our community. They're not just here to provide a service for themselves. They're here for everyone. And that really speaks to your passion for community. And I think that's cool to know about Emlyn and your team and yourself. So you also serve on a couple of boards around the area. What are you into? Yeah,
I've actually. So I was pretty active in a lot of boards, but I've had to take some steps back with the new position.
Okay.
I felt like I wanted to. But yeah, I was on the hospital board. I was on the Habitat for Humanity board for a while. Years ago, that was an initiative for me. Again, a way. Because I had a little bit of trade experience, so I was able to go out and do some plumbing, but also be able to, help in a financial aspect as well.
Yeah.
I was a member of the Oakland Mountain Lake Park Lions Club. And then you start having family and responsibility changes and all that kind of good
absolutely.
Stuff. But yeah, I've had to take a little bit of a step back because my kids were young and we were doing some things and was coaching on several different levels at everything from basketball to soccer. I was the worst soccer coach in Garrett County, by the way. Yeah, if you didn't know, like me, I didn't know that you can't call a timeout in soccer. Like, I didn't know that was a thing. We were getting shelled, like literally lit up in like a U10 soccer game. Like, all these kids are just running around like crazy people, and my son was one of them, and I'm going like, my gosh, how do we stop this bleeding? Time out. The referees, of course, volunteer referees, young kids, are looking at me like I have three heads. And I'm like, finally, they come over and like, stop calling timeout. You can't call timeout in soccer. Didn't know that. The worst soccer coach in Garrett County in the history of Garrett County soccer, for sure. And musical theater, I became a theater dad. that was a learning experience as well. So,
Gotcha.
I didn't know, you being in the entertainment industry may know this, that you're not supposed to say good luck to actors and actresses.
Yeah, it's always a negative connotation thing.
Didn't realize that.
Break the leg.
Yeah. I'm standing on the end of a line in which every one of the performers has to walk past and give me the high five. And I say at least 17 times, good luck, good luck, good luck, good luck, good luck, good luck. Break the leg was probably the thing.
In my experience, I didn't go so negative. I just said no time like the present.
Yeah.
So that was it was neither negative nor positive. It just said, hey, let's do this thing.
Yeah. No, I get it. Yeah, but that was the extent of the that has been our extent with community involvement. We're just trying to find ways to, now it's more philanthropic. Philanthropic.
There you go.
Probably shouldn't do it if you can't say the word.
That's okay. I'm going to edit in the right one, and then you're good.
Perfect.
People are going to be like, wow, he got that in the first try. They don't need to know about all that.
No way. But for us now, that's where we're trying to throw our weight behind anything we can that will help people in that way.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing that, Jerry. I think we've had a very productive conversation today, and I can tell now that there's a lot to digest out of this show. There's a lot to absorb and soak in. I think many people are going to be calling, asking some questions, looking to start the process for their own. And if they were going to do that, where would you tell them to go? What's a good number? Do you guys have social media outlets? Do you have a website? Where do they get a hold of you?
We do. And when all else fails, there's a billboard at the foot of the hill of Walmart that we strategically designed to keep the mice out of Oakland.
There you go.
Yeah, it's got my big mug on the front of it, and I had an agreement with the mayor that we would put it there just to keep any mice out of it.
We all appreciate it.
But yeah, I appreciate that. So cell number is always, I have one cell phone, and it's 301-616-0037. I ask you to use that and be kind when you use it. Don't spam me. But I use the cell phone and mlend.com, mlend.com, and then you can connect with any of our loan officers, connect with me as well, and we'll put you in the right direction. And we've got links and social media, as you mentioned. We try to we're doing something that I think is kind of cool. On Fridays, and we call it Funtastic Friday, in which we make a video and we try to find something in the community that's going on that weekend.
Oh, yeah.
So we do that just to keep people in the loop of what's going on. It's not a mortgage pitch of any stretch whatsoever, but it's just for people that may say, hey, because my wife and I would say, hey, what's going on this weekend? We'll look through the chamber website and see what's up and those sorts of things. Sometimes I find that with video, people will check it out and say, oh yeah, I didn't realize that, it was Autumn Glory this weekend or the fair's coming this weekend. So we try to do some cool things like that to keep people abreast of what's going on.
Well, and you make it entertaining too. I've seen a couple of those videos, and usually try to dress the part if it's something specific, or you've got something in the background that really fetches the eye. But no, that's a great resource. People can check that out, see what's going on the weekend.
Yeah, I appreciate that. My wife is not a fan of the dancing, so she asked that I try not to embarrass myself.
But, gotcha. So you're not quite TikTok star yet.
Not there yet.
Okay.
Yeah, not there. Yeah.
Well, thank you again, Jerry. I think we had a really good show today. I definitely learned a lot, and I know a lot of our listeners will appreciate and learn from what you gave us today. Again, if you guys want to learn more from Jerry Merrick, you can go and check out mlend.com. Find out more. Get connected with our folks here in Deep Creek. Of course, they can stop by your office too, right?
Yeah, we're located in Dry Dock Plaza, and we're a full service. So we have commercial lending just as well as residential lending. We've got a great commercial lender in Jeff McCauley. He's a staple in our community as well. We like to think that we bring a tremendous value to our county.
So, Jerry, at the end of every show, I kind of open up the mic to all of my guests to kind of give them a chance to plug what they've got coming up, what they've got going on, or make any special announcements. So I'm going to open up the mic. It's your time. What do you got to tell us?
Oh, sure. No, I appreciate the opportunity. I would tell you that a couple of things. I have two important things that I wanted to share with you. First and foremost is we are a full-service lender, meaning that not only can we help you purchase, we can also help you refinance if you already own a home. We also do those specialty types of products. We do construction financing. So if you can't find the right home, we can help you with financing the construction of your home.
Okay.
We do land financing. A lot of people don't know that either. So
Wow.
we do second homes. We do investment properties. So whether you're, we're a full service mortgage company that's owned by a bank and has that financial power. So that's really important. I wanted to share that with you and your listeners, so you know that you're not. We're a full service company, and I'm going to expand on that just 1 second.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I think this is really important too. A lot of local banks only have their products, right? These are our products, and if you don't fit in the box, then you have to choose another lender. You have to go to another bank. What makes us unique, and our value proposition is this, Connor. We are owned by a bank, so we have our bank products, but we also have 13 of the largest banks in the country in our hip pocket. So,
Wow.
Meaning we're going to give you the best pricing that we can give you, because we're going to search all of these investors over here, the Wells Fargos, the New Res, the Chases of the world, because we can sell directly to them. Or we can lend our own money and keep it in our bank's portfolio.
Wow.
That is unique to Garrett County. There is no one else that has that capability. They essentially just have their own loans that they work through.
Really cool.
Yeah, so it makes it cool. The last cool thing that I'll share with you, and I told you you're gonna have to shut me up because, man, I have a passion for talking.
No, let's hear it.
We received just today, and I put it out on our social posts, that I was recognized as a top loan originator, as a top 1% in the country today.
Incredible.
Now, what that means is you and I were reminiscing a little bit last year through the Beachbody competition when I gave all the shouts out to Garrett County, because we are small but mighty. And what I mean by that, 20, 30,000 people in Garrett County, we are standing against the behemoths of the world and saying, you know what, we have so much support for Jerry and his team that they were able to produce volumes that put them in elite status, in the country. Now, I only say that because that recognition for me is more important, to be able to share with the folks of Garrett County and the areas that we serve, that because you trust in us, we can give back to this community in the way that we do. And I never take that for granted, man. I know that this is the most special place on earth, that the people here really rally around their own. And man, I'm just so grateful and so blessed to be a part of this community. And that national recognition is a win for all of us. It's not just a win for me. So.
You're right. We have that ever prevailing philosophy in economic development. We say, the rising tide lifts all ships. It's a JFK quote. He actually said boats. We made it cooler. But the philosophy is very applies very directly here. Yeah. As you succeed, we all succeed. And you put Garrett County on the map as a top 1% in the world.
Yep.
I mean, that's an incredible designation. Yep. That's an incredible distinction, and congratulations, from us. We're certainly going to share that out there, and honored to have the privilege to get you on this podcast, be one of the first outlets to put that announcement out there. So we really appreciate you coming in, Jerry. Thank you for sharing that. Again, congrats. Thank you for your team at Emland, all you guys are doing here in our community. You are a fantastic resource. If you are not familiar, again, please connect with Jerry at Emland. Go out there, see him at work at community actions, maybe on the soccer field,
calling timeout.
Calling timeouts, or facing the wrong direction like I would be. Who knows? He's out there. But check him out, folks. Great guy. And thanks so much for listening to the Business B.E.A.R podcast. Make sure you're following us at the Garrett County, Maryland Department of Business Development on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter, or X, whatever Elon wants to call it these days, to keep up to date on all of the latest episodes. all of the latest releases from our office, pretty much just anything business here in the county. Thank you all for listening. Again, the Business B.E.A.R. podcast. I am your host, Connor Norman, and I'll see you on the other side.